Good afternoon and good evening or good morning or whatever it is, the wonderful world of Facebook. So this is a live video with the man himself, Chris Miller, and myself, Tom, from Training Forest Darwin. And we're going to talk about, like, a lot of our clients are, between sort of, late 20s, early 50s, maybe a little bit, in between those sort of things. And what we're going to talk about is just some pointers to help keep your health span long, okay, when you're 40 plus and you're female. So slightly niche sort of market we're talking to here, but I'm sure there's going to be some valuable knowledge bombs dropped along the way. Chris will be on camera soon. Bear with me. Hope everyone's having a great day, by the way. There he is.
Tom, how are you?
I'm very well, Chris. How are you, mate?
Very good, thank you.
Excellent. So the topic for today is, how does a 40-plus female remain and retain healthy into their later years and to obviously increase their health span? So have you got any hints and tips as far as those people are concerned?
Yeah, sure thing. Look, it's an incredibly important, phase and age for ladies. For those who have had children, their children maybe are getting slightly older, and they're able to possibly start to reclaim a bit of time for themselves. Yeah, that's right. Or some people now are just entering the, parenthood phase. Look, during that sort of 40s and above, there is the beginnings of quite significant hormonal changes in the female body. So that can start with, almost sort of very pre-menopausal, and that can continue on for a lot longer or start a lot later after that period. Look, there's a couple of things that I think are quite important during this this time for ladies. First thing I'd really touch on is to regulate carbohydrate intake, and this is going to for a couple of reasons. One is it's going to really heighten your insulin sensitivity. So what that means is when you have carbohydrates, you're really going to get a lot of bang for your buck. They're going to feel great. They're going to give you lots of energy. They're going to really enable you to tackle your day. But the more carbohydrates you consume, the more that you'll come to depend on them, and you'll get that yo-yo effect. Not only that, if you're not utilizing those carbohydrates, they're going to be stored as excess energy. Additionally, constant carbohydrate use will stimulate, quite a lot of insulin. With the change in hormone levels as well, that insulin, which is a hormone, is going to really cause a lot of just stress in the system, heightened inflammation, and there's just, there's already things like that happening in the body, and it's a big transition period, so we don't need external or extra factors compounding any of those issues. So really regulate your carbohydrate intake, make it reflective of kind of your activity levels, and really seek to get your carbohydrates from vegetables. Really looking at vegetables for their micronutrient content, so leafy greens, mixed colors as often as possible.
Have you got a...
The next thing...
Sorry. Hang on. You're right. Have you got a sort of a? Is there sort of like a midpoint? Do you know what I mean? Like between, say, 100 or 150 or 200 and 250 grams, based on, say, for example, that a lady is exercising, doing sort of conditioning work and a little bit of weight training or whatever it might be, 4 times a week. It's 60 minutes or 45 minutes worth of work, including warm-ups and stuff. Like, what do you think, and they're traveling into possibly premenopausal or they're in menopause, what sort of carbohydrate stuff are you thinking about? Yeah,
look, I would hesitate to offer a very specific range or percentage of intake because everybody's so fundamentally different, and it largely depends on, as you said, the exercise output, but also the kind of the second point I was leading towards, which was lean body mass. So look, it is very dependent. It's very, there is a range of anywhere from 50 to 150 grams, I would suggest, based on how you are feeling. I know that is subjective, but if you can say have 50 to 100 grams of carbohydrates a day, based on your diet and your intake and your energy levels feels good, and that is sustainable, then stick there. If that is not sustainable and it's causing you a great deal of stress and it's just really making life miserable, then that's not sustainable and you need to look to change things up. If you are going to reduce carbohydrates, then obviously you need to replace that energy source with another energy source, being fat, and its breakdown into ketones. So look, I would suggest with that, it's a bit of, it comes back to what I talked about several times a few weeks ago, and it's like a check-in. Record your intake over the course of a week and sort of ask yourself, how did I feel this week? Come back and redo that at a different time in the month or the next month, and just sort of say, hey, did I feel better or worse with the same or less amount of carbohydrates? And just spend a bit of time coaching yourself through this, or get yourself a coach that can help you work through a sustainable eating plan. But it all comes back to what you can do that's not going to cause you stress, that's not going to have you feeling guilty, that's not going to have you, oh my God, do I have to eat this again? It's all about just sort of, really nurturing your body and really looking after it with a sustainable way of eating. So, sometimes ketosis is not sustainable for people, and other times it is. So it's kind of just finding your sweet spot, and that takes a bit of conscious effort, control, and input over a certain amount of time.
And I think the again, going back to a previous video that we've done, like we said about that check-in, I think that is one of the most, I would say, in the top 3 for not just women or men, like everyone, is to know what you're doing. You got to measure something. Do you know what I mean? Because if we don't measure anything, we don't know what we're doing. So it's the same with if you want to get stronger. You got to know what you're maximally capable of at that point in time, and then work off that number. Or you've got to know what your overall calories intake is. Or you have to know something. And I think there's too many people who stress themselves out because they don't track anything, because it's this whirlwind in their mind. You know what I mean? And they stress themselves out because they don't know where they're going. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's no organization.
Yeah, exactly. And they leave it to making a decision, and we kind of then suffer from decision fatigue. Hey, I'm about to eat. I should eat something. What do I do? Oh my God! I've just looked after all the kids, or I've just gone to work, or I've just done this, and this, and then they've left themselves the last, and by that stage they've just kind of they've done too much for too many other people. And, it's then in a position, I'll just get this. So, getting these wonderful women to put themselves first and nurture themselves through some conscious, effort of kind of going, okay, well, what do I need to eat this week? And coming up with a bit of a plan. It's very simple. It doesn't take much time. You can do it with a glass of wine on a Sunday afternoon and have yourself set up for the week. And that leads into very much the second point, which is, we want to kind of minimize things that are going to, or really work on things that are going to minimize and also maximize your hormones regulation. So reducing, fat body percentage, but also increasing lean body mass. Now that can mean going for a walk 2 to 3, 5 times a week that's sustainable for your lifestyle. It can mean doing gym 1 to 3, 4, 5 times a week that's sustainable for you. It can mean doing something that is active, that is going to build a little bit of conditioning, a little bit of lean body mass, and having that increased muscle mass. It's not going to make you huge and defined and all that sort of stuff. It's just going to really help with energy production and stability, strength through the joints, get you more active, feeling stronger, and reducing, excess fat storage, which can really affect all the different hormones, and particularly during the phase of hormone transition. So that's certainly a second consideration that I would, recommend to people, is to put some effort into trying to find an exercise routine that works for you, be that body weight, be that walking, being running, being surfing, swimming, yoga, whatever it is. Find something you like, find something that is sustainable, and, give yourself the time to do it. You're allowed to, you've earned it. Do what you can. And the final part, which kind of links those two things together, is kind of nurture yourself. I don't want to sort of sound too, spiritual or whatever, that sort of stuff, but I think it's important that, I've worked with a lot of ladies in their 40s, and they always put themselves last, and they kind of do everything for everyone else. And I kind of, what you're going to, because they're so empathetic and they want to help more people. And it's like, well, hey, look, you're going to help more people if you're feeling a bit better. So let's just use this period to really sort of nurture yourself. And this goes, across all ages, really, and in men as well. Just, put some effort into, eating well, into exercising, getting your body sort of working well, working efficiently, and just doing those three simple things. Obviously, there's 1,000 other things. There's 100 other complications. Everybody's different, but if we can just offer, a couple of those things and get people making some conscious effort over the next couple of months to go, hey, what am I eating? Can I reduce this? Can I increase this? What exercise am I doing this weekend? Can I do more? Can I fit it in here and here? And, am I really sort of nurturing myself here to get the best out of myself so that I can be a little bit better, not so much better, but a bit healthier, better energy, that sort of stuff. Everything's going to start to work better for them.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an element of guilt with people that I see, and for whatever reason, like, I don't know whether it's like social conditioning or family conditioning or society or whatever it might be, but there's definitely, people feel guilty about doing something for themselves, eh? Like it's like, and like exactly what you said, if you're feeling like crap, right, and you're performing like rubbish, and you feel terrible because you're eating rubbish, because you haven't got time, because you're looking after everyone else around you, right? You're not giving the best to somebody else, right? But there's this element that if you do something for yourself, if you take time off, if you have a sleep in, if you pull a sick day at work or whatever, suddenly you're the bad person. Like, oh, you're just selfish. It's not like, and that, I think that is rubbish. Because people, you're the only person. You came into this world alone. You're going to leave it alone as well. Do you know what I mean? And in between that time, you've got a big choice. Where it's like, you've got to regulate your time and organize yourself and go, well, if I'm looking after everybody else, how can I look after myself? And I don't think that male and female, and obviously we're talking about ladies here, but, I think everyone, like, stop feeling guilty for doing something for yourself. That's, you're here alone. Do you know what I mean? You're the only one who lives in your mind as well. So if you're doing something good for yourself and you're not beating yourself up about it, then it's going to radiate to everybody else, correct?
Definitely. Yep. Eat well, move well, and live well.
And be a weapon. All right, mate. That's good.
That's right. Thank you.
I'll talk to you later, and I'll see you soon. All right?
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Appreciate your time.
See you guys.
See ya.